Hey, peace, man. I wanted to address some topics. One of the topics that I wanted to address was the importance of identity. People always say, well, Brother Truth, why'd you change your name to Truth? And I let them know it's not a change that I made, but a correction that I made due to a political, historical injury that our people experience. And as a result of that experience, we have been forced to assume the names, identities, and appellations of other people or what people have given us. And because I'm aware of that, I'm like, I do not want to wear any foreign identity or titles, or what we call in law nom de guerres, on me because it's not proper. And not only that, it is an instrument which has been used to denationalize my nationality. Thus, when you deal with names, identities, when you cannot with identify or even associate with the language, the culture, the spirit of your culture or your ancestors, then you will be alienated through the language. And that's very important because the language that we use today and the names and the titles do not tie us back to the lineage that we have. So this is the reason why I have corrected my appellations and taken on what we call a noble title or title of descendability, linking back to my heritage. But let me read this. This is an excerpt from my book, the Book of Acts, Kodak Noir and Pius, and it's very important. Let's read it. It says, in these opening remarks, I have chosen to first address the matter of identity, nationality, names, and appellations. I find these topics to be very relevant, significant to how people have historically and presently established how they perceive and identify themselves. That's very important, how people identify themselves and not how other people identify. Anyway, identity, nationality, names, and appellation have always had a linguistic, culture, and ethnic relationship with the people who created them for themselves. Identity, nationality, names, and appellation not only reflects the consciousness of a people's nature and their culture. It also further denotes their political status in relationship to their state, and their association with their legislative, executive, and administrative governmental activities according to their nation state. Identity, nationality, names, and appellation are also what determines the legal classification or the misclassification status of a people, and in a greater essence to the fact they also denote descendability, or a people's inheritable birthrights along with their rights of claims, entitlements, hereditaments, bloodline, lineage, and wealth, etc. So let me ask, with humility, in the context of a nationality, an ancient creed, and self-identity, do anyone make any claims, subscriptions, or arguments or take a defense of identifying yourselves as being a Negro, black, or black people, colored people, African American, Indian, Native American, Jamaican, Israelite, or even Puerto Rican? If so, if so, can you please provide the anthropological linguistics, the phonology, the grammar, the dialect, the language, the etymological origins, in which any of these so-called names relate back or originate from any indigenous people or any indigenous cultures? Not a transliteration, not a translation, but can you provide the etymology? Or in other words, can you relate these words back to any indigenous language, cultures, or specific geography prior to the Inquisition with foreigners, especially foreign Europeans? So I ask that with humility, that you are able to self-examine what's going on. So if I can alienate you through the language from your own consciousness, then you can never wake up to make a defense, to make a claim. And in fact, I can utilize whatever resource, whatever birthrights, inheritance is yours. And that's just in an appellation. That's just in a name alone. So it's very important to not just be aware, but to make the correction that's necessary. You cannot sit here and say, yeah, we know that we've been doing an experience where people have imposed genocide and enslaved us and given us these names, and then be aware of it and still operate underneath the commercial brand names and titles that people had given you. The correction needs to be made first. That has to be corrected consciously. And this is part of the reason why we still are approaching our issue with the same political approach and not applying or receiving the remedies that we need. You have to correct the consciousness, so your concepts have to be removed. And on that note, I'm going to say peace. Go ahead and be critical and listen. Peace.